come onto our backs to begin. Come onto your back, have your set of therapy balls nearby, and just lie completely onto your back. Let the entire body just be heavy on the floor. I want you to begin by sensing the entire back of the body, everywhere it touches the earth. Really feel and lean into that support. Feel the heels, the calves, the buttocks, the spine, rib cage, shoulder blades, backs of the arms, and back of the head. Try to let the front body melt into the back body, and then letting the back body melt even further into the floor. Can you allow the internal organs, the gut, to sink towards the back wall of the torso? The lungs to drop to the back wall of the rib cage. Let the heart sink and be cradled by the spine. Let the face soften and the eyes drop back into the eye sockets, feeling yourself entirely grounded, starting from a place of complete support. In this place, letting go of any unnecessary effort. As we move through tonight's practice, I want to create the intention of letting go of what we no longer need. Letting go of what we no longer need allows us to access the abundance of what we already have. To peel back the layers of excess, which in our bodies so often become a sense of heaviness, a sense of feeling stuck, a sense of constriction. So as you lie here completely supported, let go of what no longer serves you. Thoughts, planning, stories, tension. Whatever it is, with each exhalation, just let it melt away as you surrender into the floor. And as we come into that letting go intention, let's take our set of balls in the tote. They could be out of the tote or in the tote, but bring them right into the middle of the back. So they're going to be below the level of the shoulder blades, but still in the bottom ribs. And when we work the upper body, this is kind of like the foundation for the upper body. The position of the whole torso and upper extremities begins really from the diaphragm and the rib cage. So how the diaphragm moves and how the rib cage is oriented completely orients the position of our upper extremities. So here I just want you to feel like the balls are sitting right in that level of the diaphragm. If the balls are too much, you can actually just roll up a towel and place a towel across here too. But we are gonna go right into from this to some rolling. So I'm gonna keep the balls there. So just notice that initial response. There might be that initial response of wanting to tense a little bit. So see if you can let go of that efforting and sink back into that heaviness. Sinking into the floor like an anchor sinking in the water. And then hug one knee to your chest, doesn't matter whichever one feels more natural. And don't hug it hard, just come right to that first place of increased sensation. Letting time and gravity allow you to drop a little bit more towards the floor. And then as you stay here, maybe the other leg starts to straighten out. Bringing all of your attention, all of your awareness right to that place exactly where the ball and body meet. And notice the nature of your breathing. Are you breathing through the mouth? Are you breathing through the nose? Are you breathing equal inhale and exhale? Is it shallow or deep? Use that breath to observe the quality in which you're arriving tonight. Letting that breath inform you if there's anything you're holding on to. And then hug both knees into your chest, taking that straight leg to meet the other one. Instead of pulling the knees up towards the chest, think about pressing the knees down towards the floor, like your knees are pressing walls behind you. Few breaths there. And then switch sides. Maybe start with the foot on the floor. And then you can gently progress it out. Letting go. With each breath, letting go. Noticing if as you focus on the exhale, that exhale even elongates, where you bring your attention, the body follows, allowing you to let go even a little bit more. And then let your knee come down, bend both knees, and from here, we're gonna start to roll through the middle of the back. So I'm gonna take the Coregeous ball. You could also take a foam roller under the tailbone, or you could just lift the hips. And I'm gonna I'm gonna bring my hands behind my neck for a minute, just to cradle my head, and I'm gonna start to roll into the back of the rib cage. If you want, head can just stay on the ground too. You might feel a little kind of bob of the chin as that happens. There's no right way. I want you to think about coming into whatever way You can start to move along the mid-back, just exploring it, with curiosity, with no intention of changing anything, just simply exploring. Coming up to that space between the shoulder blades. Maybe as you come between the shoulder blades, you might even cross the arms in front to expose a little bit more space. If you find a spot of particular sensation, if you want to exchange the rolling for an arch and then around, try that too. First awakening breath, and now awakening breath with movement. No right way. Listening to your body, allowing the body to be your guide. Trying to stay in the sensations of the body. So not trying to work, but trying to sense and feel. So really keeping your awareness right where the ball and body meet the entire time. Just sensing every spot. And when you find a spot that's interesting or sensational, just pause there. Alternate between movement and stillness and see how their body responds. And then I'm going to let go of the ball, or let go of the lift, but keep the ball right in the space between the shoulder blades. And let's awaken a little bit of cultivation of the core here. So a little bit of an expansion and contraction. So getting that opening through the arms, shoulders, and chests, and seeing how that coordinates with the core. So oftentimes when we're guarding and protecting up here, it's because we're not stabilizing from here. We're supposed to be stable here so that we can be mobile in the upper extremities. So let's start to make that pattern happen right now. Inhale and arch back. Press your elbows into the floor. And then exhale, look down towards your navel. Elbows hug the cheekbones and round. I want it to feel like an arch. Stick the tailbone out, look up with the eyes, elbows go out and back, and then turn inward. Everything is a process of expansion and contraction. So take in what you need, and then let go of the rest. Maybe playing with the level of the balls, bumping yourself up 1 or 2 levels. If the balls are too hard, a towel, roller, blanket could work too. Gaze drives the motion. Look up and expand, and then look in and contract. And then when you're ready, add the legs in, bringing the elbows around the knee. Alternating side, expand, and then round. Expand, and then round. Still working with a short lever with the arms here. And really moving the arms as an extension of the rib cage. So rib cage drives all of that upper body motion. Maybe 2 more times on each side, connecting your breath with your motion. Can the breath drive the movement? Focus all the awareness on the inhale and exhale. Last time. Remove the balls. Let the body come flat. Let yourself recover completely, dropping into the floor. Building a little bit of resiliency, that ability to expand and then come back into yourself. Sense the body heavy, dropping on the floor. Feeling all the points of contact with the earth. Letting the breath fill the surfaces of the body where you come in contact with the earth. Feeling the breath even drop down, feeling that support beneath it. Feeling the spine act as a platform for the breath to flow up and down along. Pausing and integrating this. Feeling your body return to resting, return to neutral. Feeling the entire spectrum. And then taking your balls out of the tote now, coming into a similar location, but making them just a little bit wider. Balls are going to come right to that space between the shoulder blades. And then knees can be bent or straightened. Bent might be better to support the spine. And then now we'll do a little shoulder blade motion. So you should feel like the therapy balls are in the gutters between the shoulder blades. And now we'll start to move the shoulder blades up and down. And you can find that just right spot. So bump up and down to find that just right position. And you'll find a spot that's sensational but sustainable, that makes you curious to move over. And then as that area frees, move on to the next, continuing to sync the breath with the motion. Inhale as the shoulders come up, and then exhale as the shoulders go down. The breath is the number one influence on how the upper body moves. So really keep at least half your awareness on the breath. And then let that direction of motion change. Inhale, shoulders come back. Exhale, shoulders come forward. Inhale, shoulders come back. Exhale, shoulders come forward. Inhale, shoulders back. Exhale, shoulders forward. Moving as quickly or slowly feels right in your body. Staying out of the thinking mind and keeping all of your awareness resting in the physical sensations. So can you keep your awareness tethered to that spot where the ball and body meets? And when the mind wanders, bring it back. Bring it back to that point of connection and bring it back to the breath. Now on the next inhale, snow angel the arms up just to that point of resistance. And then exhale, let the arms just slide back down. Again, inhaling up. Exhaling down. Again. Continuing to link your breath and motion, noticing how as you go, you might change that range. You might go through a small part of the range or come to a different part of the range and hang out there. If you're find a spot that is particularly sensational or interesting or requires a little bit more attention, maybe you just hold it there, hang out for a moment. Listen to what the body has to say, asking it what it needs. Following that internal teacher. Unhardening that shell that sits behind the heart, the energetics of the back of the heart, or how we view ourselves. So if we talk about peeling back the layers and letting go of what no longer serves us, are there any stories we tell ourselves, any identities or images we hang on may no longer be true? Inquire into what you're holding behind the heart. And then switch directions, letting one arm come up overhead, and then switching sides. Doing that again. Exhaling and switching. Feeling the breath create a wave that moves the arms from one side to the other. One more time on each side. And then remove the balls for a moment. I want to come out of the shoulders before we come to the next shoulder roll, and I want to come into the hips. So take both of your therapy balls still, place them right in the middle of the buttocks, kind of just behind, it's almost like you're tucking them in. So your tailbone is still on the floor and you're just sort of wedging the balls into the back of the buttocks on both sides. And then bring the heels, the heels and the soles of the feet together so that the knees fall out to the side here. And you'll feel yourself drop into the therapy balls. Notice if there's that initial response of clenching the glutes, and let's follow that. Let's go there. This initially can be a little bit intense. So squeeze the buttocks, hold the buttocks, holding that contraction both sides, noticing if it's even or if one side contracts more, or if one doesn't contract quite as much. Keep squeezing for 3, 2, 1, and then releasing. And then again, noticing, can you release evenly, or is it a little jerky, or do you just plop down? And then as you release, sense that release. And then let's do that 2, maybe even 3 more times. Squeeze the buttocks. Feel yourself almost levitate off of the balls just a little bit. Holding, breathing. Feeling even more muscle fibers in the glutes contract. And then slowly relaxing down, letting yourself sink back into the balls. And then doing one more round, clenching the buttocks, feeling every single muscle fiber fire in the butt. Clench the butt as much as you can, holding it for 7 to 10 seconds. Just engaging the butt, keeping, maybe even smiling so that the jaw stays relaxed. And relaxing all the way down. Pull the knees into center And now we'll just do a little bit of stabilization here. So you'll feel those balls kind of right in the middle of the glutes. Take your hands right to the bony hip points, or even make a little triangle with your thumb and index finger so that that kind of creates a mirror of the sacrum on the front of your pelvis. The hands stay perfectly still as you let one knee fall out to the side and then come back up. Then let the other knee fall out to the side slowly like you're moving through water. And then come back up. Again. Maybe even pausing at the end range for a breath before you come back up. Noticing it how with repetition you start to go a little further. Creating some separation of the hips, disassociation of the hips. Opening through the hips, being able to come upright onto our hips to stand in an erect posture. Really that foundation for the shoulders, chest position. Is a sign of our ability to actualize, to step into our identity, into our strength. So notice if there's anything you're holding on to in your buttocks, anything that's holding you back. These rotational muscles are associated with control. So notice if you're really efforting, you're really trying to control something. Maybe all you have to do is let go. And then release. Let the balls come out. Let your behind sink into the floor, legs coming out straight. Maybe the behind feels a little bit broader, a little flatter, kind of like it's a deflated tire as you soften into the floor. But now we're going to use the buttocks. So I wanted to turn it on. I wanted to shut it off so that we could turn it on and use it properly to come into probably one of my favorite sequences now for the upper traps. We're going to do some dynamic motion for the upper traps, which will integrate breathing, posture, and a really beautiful release for the upper traps. We're going to start out stationary and then make it dynamic. So take the therapy balls as a like a platform under that bulky muscle at the top of the shoulder. If you squeeze the top of the shoulder, place the balls there. And then now, I'm just going to lift my hips up onto the Coregeous ball. You can use a block. You can use a foam roller. You can use the Coregeous ball. You can even just hold it up. But I'm going to be a little lazy to start. So I'm just going to put some increased pressure into the tops of the shoulders using gravity to let any tension drain out of the tops of the shoulders. Then I'm going to bring my arms up overhead. And I'm just going to hang out here. This is a positional release for the upper traps. It takes all the strain off the tops of the shoulders, like taking off that backpack of weight that's on the shoulders. It takes the stretch out of the rubber band that is the upper traps and lets gravity drain out any tension. So rest here, letting any tension drain out of the shoulders. This positional release usually takes about 90 seconds or so for the body to let go of that resting, holding tension. What are you carrying on your shoulders that you can let go of? Are you carrying someone else's pack? If so, let it go. If there's uncertainty about what it is you're carrying, and if you know there's tension and maybe not sure what, maybe inquire into it by actually contracting the shoulders a little bit more up towards the ears, holding that tension. feeling the tension. What does that tension feel like? What does that tension build up or bring up as you squeeze the shoulders up towards the ears? Notice if there's other patterns that arise, like clenching the eyes or the cheeks or the face or even the neck. And then gently relax and sink into the balls. Maybe hang out here or try that again. If there's a sense of tension, actually squeeze and lean into that tension. Dial up the volume of that tension so you can listen a little bit better, so that you can feel or actually hear the patterns of the body that it tends to go into when there is tension in the tops of the shoulders. What does it bring up? What does it feel like? What else happens in the body? Sense the intricacies of these patterns so that then you can soften, unravel, and then let them go. Maybe do that one more time, or just hang out here if the position itself and resting in this spot feels like it's what you need. There's no right answer. Let your body guide you. Come back into the sensations of the body. What does it need most in this moment? How can you let go? How can you lean into the abundance of support beneath you? And then when you're ready, bring the arms down, bring the hips down. And then now we'll come into a more integrated version of this. This is going to build some movement pattern and strength, which is so essential. So press down through the feet. As you press down through the feet, roll up the back, every segment of the backbone until the weight is in the top of the shoulders. Then bring the arms up overhead. Take a breath in here. As you exhale now, keep the arms pressing in overhead. Roll down one backbone at a time, feeling every segment come down to the floor, feeling that length in the side body. Breathe in here, feel that length. And then exhale, arms come down. Breathe in. Exhale, scoop the tail, press into the feet, roll up. Feel the glutes engage, core engage, feeling postural strength. Inhale, lift the arms up overhead. Pause here and inhale. Exhale, roll down one backbone at a time. Hands and hips in opposite directions. Feel that length. Inhale, and then exhale all the way back down to start. Let's do that 2 more times. Press your feet into the floor. Exhale, lift. Rolling up. Inhale, arms reach up as you expand. Keep the hands pressing into the floor as you exhale, rolling the spine down. Feeling every backbone touch into the floor. Feeling the shoulders start to open as the rib cage comes down. Pause and inhale. Exhale, return to start. Last time on your own pace. Beautiful. Let it all go. Feeling the shoulders drop back to the floor. Notice if you're just working the upper back, if the chests and shoulders feel more open. Just by working the back of the body, noticing if the front of the hips feel more open. And then rolling onto your belly, we're going to come now into the chest. So a lot of times the chest is the reason we can't open through our posture. There's a lot of protection that happens here. So in the top of the chest, those are our lung points or anxiety points. This has been a time where there might be a lot of uncertainty or anxiety, difficulty to take a deep breath because you don't know what lies ahead. So we're going to come into those spots right at the top of the lung, opening that front heart space, opening the front of the shoulders. I'm just going to give you 2 variations. If you only have a standard therapy ball, you can take a block or a thick book right into the front of the chest. So that's going to help lift it up. So I'm right underneath the collarbone, and I'm going to work out under the collarbone. My preference for this area is to use the alpha ball, which is a bit bigger, so I can just roll the alpha ball along here. If the alpha ball is too intense, you can take the air-filled ball, the Coregeous ball, to roll across. And if you don't have those, even a foam roller does the job vertically that you can roll against and cover a nice bit of territory. But I'm going to take the alpha ball. So I'm going to come to the right side first. So just underneath the collarbone, outside of the chest bone or sternum. I'm going to bring my right arm out like a T, bring my left hand to the floor like a rudder. It's going to steer me side to side across the top of the chest. Let the head just drag along the floor. And then maybe even let yourself come to stillness and just breathe into the points where the ball and the body meet. You may notice that you feel like you're working here, or there might be this internal sense of tension because this is tender. This is sensitive places that aren't often touched. So if you're feeling that, these little sort of marbles or pinpoint spots of bright sensation. If you're feeling those little points of sensation, just pause there. Pause and notice. Breathe into them. Let gravity and time do the work. Those are the main drivers for myofascial release. And when we look at the body, what the body needs, so often less is more. There's always a sense of doing. But by resting into sensation, can you just be with what is? And simply by drawing attention to the sensations, finding stillness so that you can listen to what the body has to say, you might find that any tension, any holding, any fear, anxiety, start to unravel, start to come off, like peel away, like layers of the onion. Or taking off an old coat, getting rid of that story that no longer serves you. So ask yourself, what do I need most right here? And then when you're ready, go ahead and switch sides. Maybe start by moving a little bit and then make your way into stillness. Letting the opposite hand act like a rudder. Using the breath to facilitate movement in those upper ribs, bringing air, bringing life, bringing brightness and awareness into those places. If possible, focusing on the exhalation, the sinking over the ball. This area is often, when this area is tight, it's often associated with holding breath in or short breath or hyperventilating. So can you slow down the breath? Focus on the exhale, the letting go. Through the breath, telling the body it's okay. It doesn't need to hold on. It has everything it needs. When we let go of what no longer serves us, we can realize the abundance that we have. And I actually want to come back to the other side. I want to do one more roll, and then we'll shift into a couple yin postures. I just want to bring that ball out just a little bit more. I want to come out to the biceps. So coming right off of the shoulder now, I'm going to turn the palm down, and I'm just going to roll along the biceps, because the biceps attaches right into the pec. And I'm thinking of it as that grasping muscle, that drawing in, that holding on to things. We lift things up and hold on to things through the biceps. So let's come into the biceps for a second. Taking about 3 to 5 more breaths here. Exploring the entire length. I like to break these long bones into parts, so I usually break it into 2 or 3 parts. I don't try to traverse the entire length of the muscle at one time. Then I'm going to switch. Taking about 3 to 5 more breaths here. And then let go of your therapy balls. Let go of all of the tools and just let yourself lie on your belly in complete surrender. How can you let go entirely, falling into the floor? Are you doing anything right now to hold yourself up? Notice if there is that internal sort of protective state of holding yourself up. If so, how can you let yourself relax just 5% more? Surrendering into that support that's always here. Letting go so that you really can sense the abundance of support. If you're holding on, you can't let yourself be supported. Release completely. Feel that support. Support of the floor. The support of yourself. Of taking the time to do this practice, to show up for yourself. To actually listen to what the body needs. Letting go of any expectations and simply listening. Being with yourself just as you are in this very moment, right now. letting go of past stories or anxieties about the future. Just be with each breath. Inhale, and then let it all go on the exhale. If we think about letting go and surrendering, the perfect posture for that is pigeon. So let's come, and in yin we'll call it a swan sometimes, sleeping swan. So let's come, just push up to hands and knees. Let's take your left foot forward first. I'm going to take my left knee out towards my left hand, maybe even a little bit outside. Then I'm going to stretch my right leg back. I'm going to lift the knee up for a moment and then land above the kneecap. When we do yin, it's nice to have support bringing the floor up to meet us. So if you find that your hips go really uneven as you try to work the behind down on the left, don't force it. There's no forcing or no extra energy in yin. We simply start where we are. So maybe take a blanket. Sorry, I didn't tell you to get a blanket at the beginning of class, but maybe take a blanket and prop up that buttock. And then stay kind of halfway up for a minute. When I do this yin variation, I kind of like to tuck my foot towards the front of the opposite hip too. You don't have to crank that leg out in front. Just find whatever is comfortable. But now we're going to add a little extra to this. We've been working on that shoulder and chest opening. So I like to add a little thread the needle. So take the right arm and thread it underneath you, bringing the right shoulder towards the left knee. And you might find that now you really need that blanket under your hip. And then the head can maybe come to a block. The shoulder can come to the floor. It's okay if you kind of rock off of that left hip a little bit. See how it feels? And then here, you decide what the left hand does. You could reach overhead into that pigeon-like surrendering position. Or maybe you tuck it into the back of your pants, coming in towards a half bind. Listening to what feels right in the body, not forcing yourself to any place. Really letting your hips rotate over to the right. It's okay if the left hip lifts off the floor. You may even feel your heel come into the hip crease on the right, giving you a little hip flexor release. Just an option. Everything is optional, but if you're really feeling like, oh, I want to feel that opening, maybe your left hand reaches back here. Gets a little quad grab. That just felt a little nice. But wherever you land, just allow yourself to find stillness there. Just land and stay for a while. Notice if you're holding on, are you clenching the glutes? If so, gently bring your awareness there. Don't force them to relax, but by simply being aware of tension in the glutes, you can slowly let go of that tension. Focusing on the exhalation. Doing a little letting go breath here. Can you breathe in for 4? And then can you breathe out for 8? How can you surrender? Surrender control. Surrender any tightness around the back of your heart. Letting go of anything that's buried deep in the pelvis, deep in the heart. Through letting go. Awakening to what is. And then very slowly reconnecting to the support of the ground. Lean into that support to come out of this. Press down with the left hand, bringing both hands towards the floor. Removing the props behind you. Now, we're going to transition right into the next thing. A beautiful counter pose. So taking the left leg out, coming all the way onto your belly, taking the right arm out to the opposite position now. So now left leg and right arm are going to go in the opposite direction. So press the palm into the floor, roll onto the right shoulder. Left leg now comes back, lengthening out the front of the hip. Feel the opening in the pec. Feel the opening in the front of the right shoulder. The left arm can stay in front, or the left arm can come behind again into that half bind. After that sense of contraction, feel that sense of opening. Lean into the support in the front of the right arm. Can you keep the front of the right arm heavy on the floor, feeling the entire right arm contact the floor? And through this opening, through this letting go, feeling the spaciousness, the abundance of space, the breadth of the breath in the front of the chest. Breathe in through the front of the right arm, feel it spread across the chest, and then feel it radiate down the back of the left arm. Awaken now to abundance in this full opening. With each inhale, sensing abundance, sensing spaciousness, sensing openness. And through acknowledging that, allowing yourself to let go even a little bit more. No need to hold on. Taking one more full breath in. And then exhale allows you to unravel back towards your belly. Just let your head change directions and melt completely into the floor for a moment before moving to the other side. And when you're ready, press up to hands and knees. Take the right knee out towards the right hand. Sit the hips back. If you want, you can take that blanket or cushion for the hips. And then thread the needle. Left arm comes under the right. Hips might tip off to the left. Let the head come down, side of the head towards the floor. If you want to get some back heart opening across the backs of the shoulders, keep the right arm up overhead and rotate the chest down. If you want to get more front chest opening, let your hand wrap around your back and tuck into the waistline of your pants. And if you liked that little quad grab, go ahead, do that again. Whatever feels right. It might feel different on this side than the other. Find your first edge. Just find sensation of what feels good, of what you can lean into, where there's no efforting. Where there's a sense of feeling grounded and supported. Let yourself just rest there. Feeling all the tension in the body unravel. Letting yourself sink into the floor. Letting go of any last notes of tension in the glutes, the shoulders, and the jaw. May I let go of what no longer serves me. May I awaken to the abundance all around me. Taking 3 more letting go breaths, elongating that exhale to be twice as long as the inhale. And then letting the right hand come underneath the right shoulder, pressing up, pressing down into the ground to pull you up. Coming back all the way to your belly, pausing until any sensation subsides, sinking back into the earth, and then rolling onto the left arm, taking the right leg back behind you like a kickstand, opening through the front hip of the hip now, opening through the front of the shoulder now. So going from full contraction to full expansion, feeling the full range of that pendulum, the full spectrum, the swinging. Feel the fullness of the inhale in this posture. Feeling the breadth of the inhalation. Pausing and feeling that fullness, that abundance, so that you can completely let go. Knowing that the next breath will carry everything you need. So there's no reason to hang on. The power in our body comes from the exhalation, comes from the letting go. And on the next exhale, unrolling back to your belly, head spins to the other side. Pausing momentarily in complete surrender. Integrating the thoughts, the feelings, the sensations. Returning to stillness, rolling onto your back for your final posture. And I'll give you a couple different variations. You may like the hips just supported on the foam or on the block as we did earlier when we lifted our hips, but I'm going to come into a nice shoulder opening as well. I'm going to press into a bridge. I'm going to interlace my hands behind the back, roll my shoulders behind my back, really opening the heart, opening the shoulders, opening the chest. Palms come together in a fist here, pressing my palms into the floor. I'm going to gently lower my tailbone onto my fist. If this doesn't feel good, you could take a block behind you if it's uncomfortable on the hands. If you'd like more of a throat opening, you can shift to with the legs straight and shift from here to a little fish type posture, bending the elbows. If the block's under the hips, you can let the legs elongate in the bridge too. Taking about the next 3 minutes or so to be wherever you need. Resting in a place of openness. Coming back to that letting go breath. By letting go of any Anything in the past, any expectations for the future. And letting go to surrender completely to this moment. You're opening to all the possibilities this life has to offer. Welcoming a sense of gratitude for the abundance of possibilities we have in this life. Sensing the abundance of support all around you. And as you rest in that sense of abundance, feel yourself softening. Melting, letting go into that ease and support. Taking a big sigh of deep release. May I let go whatever no longer serves me. May I awaken to the abundance all around me. And with that, coming into your final resting pose, letting the hips drop towards the floor, palms turn open. Legs lengthen with the toes turning out. Coming into a posture of complete surrender, of complete openness. Rest into that position. Resting into the abundance of support of the floor. Letting the left leg, right leg, left buttocks, right buttocks, pelvis, sacrum, abdomen, spine, left lung, right lung, heart, rib cage, left shoulder blade, right shoulder blade, left arm and hand, right arm and hand, throat, mouth, cheeks, ears, eyes, skull, brain inside the skull, supported, relaxed, and at ease. Feel the entire body at rest and at ease. And then sensing the body breathing itself. Let the breath enter, filling the entire interior of the body. Moving into all the spacious nooks and crannies, crevices, bringing life. And then taking away, exhaling, releasing, eliminating what we no longer need. With the gentlest of awareness, follow that taking and letting go. That ever-present dynamic balance of giving and receiving. To sustain life. From this place of support, awaken to what it feels like to be completely alive and aware in the entire body and mind. Sensing that awareness. And then sensing yourself as that spacious, open, vast awareness. No limits, no ends. Resting in that abundance of potential, of possibility. Sensing yourself as abundance. And then visualize yourself moving through your life from this place of complete support and ground, yet openness and abundance. How you interact with people. How you view yourself. And as you reawaken, setting an intention, or reconnecting to that affirmation from in our session, May I let go of what no longer serves me. May I awaken to the abundance all around me. Or whatever resonates with you in this very moment, to take this practice back into waking life. As you slowly awaken the fingers, the toes, flutter the eyes open, rolling to your side, feeling gravity. Pushing down into the floor, feeling its support as you rise up, leaning into that support, remembering all the support we have. Finishing where we began, in gratitude for this practice and for all the abundance in our lives. Thank you for joining me. Namaste.